Hi, and welcome back. It seems like the security landscape is constantly evolving and changing. Things are becoming more at risk as time progresses, and the requirements for security are becoming stricter and stricter. It's really hard to stay ahead of things. To add to this, we constantly see new regulations, compliance guidelines, and standards being introduced. One of the newest ones to come into focus is the FTC Safeguards Rule. This is something which is being rolled out imminently, and it's going to start affecting financial institutions very soon. Please stick around if you'd like to learn more. The FTC Safeguards Rule has actually been around for nearly 20 years. However, it's never been properly implemented because of bickering between politicians and changing technology standards. However, we've finally gotten to the place where the rule has been rewritten, it's up to snuff with current technology requirements and needs, and it has gotten sign-off from all the relevant bodies. In fact, it's going to be rolled out in the next couple of weeks. Because of this, it's very important to pay attention to what this entails. First off, what is the FTC Safeguards Rule? Well, in a nutshell, it is designed to safeguard data, especially consumer data. Aside from protecting customer data, it also specifically applies to financial institutions. So these are things such as banks, investment houses, financial retirement firms, anything along those lines. Ultimately then, what does the Safeguard Rule actually intend to do? Well, in a nutshell, is to protect customer data, avoid threats, and also avoid unauthorized access to data. This is really nothing new because these types of security concerns have been around for a while. However, in most cases, there's been no regulatory body that's really gotten behind putting some sort of enforcement in place. Well, we're finally seeing that. So these are guidelines that financial institutions are going to have to follow. And like many guidelines that get put into place, this is going to trickle down into other industries and eventually will become a standard across all consumer-facing industries. So pay attention what's going on here because it's going to be coming for your industry even if you're not in the financial sector. The next element to discuss is what does the Safeguard Rule actually require? It's actually broken down into 9 somewhat simple steps, but there's a lot here. So this could take a while and in some cases could be a little bit costly. It really depends on what your industry or your specific business requires. But in the case of the financial institutions, here are the steps one by one. Step 1 is you need to designate a specific individual which is in charge of the program itself. In most cases, if you're a large industry, this will be someone in-house. But if you're a smaller financial institution, such as a small firm which handles customer retirement funds, for example, then you're going to want to go to a third party, such as an IT or security services provider. The next step is going to be to perform a risk assessment. Again, if you're large enough, your internal security team will be able to handle this. But for a smaller institution, you're going to want to go to a third party to help you do this. This will help you determine what gaps currently exist in your security structure. Step 3 is probably going to be the most time-consuming process. This is going to be looking at your risk assessment, analyzing the gaps, and putting safeguards in place. This can take some time, some energy, as well as some evaluation of vendors to help you solve the problems that the security analysis has discovered. And then step 4 is actually looking at those safeguards you've put in place and determining if they're working. You're going to want to do this on an ongoing basis. Step 5, which is so crucial and is so often overlooked in the security world, is to do staff training. Human beings are one of the biggest weak links when we look at security issues. That's where a lot of the breaches happen, just because of miseducation, missing something that comes through via an email or a web page, and clicking on the wrong things. So education is absolutely crucial. There's also a lot of elements besides looking at email and website interactions. There's a lot of detail here, and ongoing staff training can really be beneficial to help mitigate risk. Step 6, which is also extremely important, is to monitor your service providers to make sure that their security programs are also up to snuff. If you have a service provider who is deeply integrated with your business processes, but their security is not where it needs to be, that could be a weak link into your organization and create risk. Or if you have a service provider that's providing some sort of components that you require and they get hit by a security risk, then that could take them down and that could severely disrupt your supply chain. So service provider evaluation on an ongoing basis is extremely important. Step 7 is to make sure that you keep your program current. This is not a one and done process. Once you do this on an ongoing basis, probably once or twice a year, you're going to want to look at your security stack and see if there's components that need to be added or removed. Things are constantly evolving in this space, and if you fall asleep behind the wheel over a period of 12 to 18 months, things can change drastically and you can again greatly increase the risks to your business. Step 8 is to create a written incident response plan. In the unfortunate situation that things do go awry, that you have a security breach, you want to know immediately how to respond to that. You do not want to be figuring this out on the fly because you're going to lose precious minutes or hours. By having a plan in place for the most common eventualities, it'll allow you to move quickly and hopefully resolve the situation quickly. Finally, the 9th step, and this applies specifically to financial institutions. So if you're in other industries, there could be other standards that are not quite the same. But in the case of financial institutions, all of this needs to be reported to the board of directors on a regular basis. This is written into the bylaws and a requirement. If you're a financial institution and you're worried about your company's security, it's important to pay attention now and move things forward. The Safeguards Rule requires movement immediately. But even if you're in a non-financial services industry, as I've mentioned prior, the rules that we're talking about here are going to trickle down quickly and apply to all industries. So it's important to pay attention to the security needs and to make movement quickly. There's never been a more urgent time to act than now. If you're interested in learning how we can assist, please reach out. Our contact information is below. And if you like what you heard today, please subscribe to our channel.